Yesterday afternoon, a fatal shooting at a Huntsville apartment complex left the local community in total shock. Authorities have identified the victim as 19-year-old Nadia Perkins, a young woman originally from Montgomery. Her grieving sister fondly remembers their final conversation, a video call shared just this past Monday. A planned birthday trip to Chicago has been replaced by a family's sudden and overwhelming loss. Friends describe her as a vibrant peacemaker who worked tirelessly to maintain harmony within her circle. She was remembered for her playful spirit, deep faith, and an infectious, highly motivating personality. To those who knew her, she was a bright light extinguished by a senseless act of violence. Her final contact with her parents was a routine Tuesday call discussing the daily stresses of school. Weeks earlier, her father had issued a stern warning telling her to avoid that specific residence entirely. However, on a Wednesday morning, Huntsville police responded to reports of gunfire on Julia Street. Officers encountered a grim scene inside. Her father later confirmed they were aware of her associate. Their acquaintance had only lasted a few weeks before the situation turned tragically and suddenly violent. Despite his pleas for her to stay away, she continued the association for nearly 2 months. Her father's instincts were sharp, yet the speed of this tragedy remains a haunting, unanswered question. Please support this investigative series by engaging as we explore the life and death of Nadia. 19-year-old Nadia Diana Elise Perkins was a young woman just beginning her adult journey. The Montgomery native frequently documented her life, showcasing an authentic and sharp-witted personality on camera. She filmed her graduation morning, sharing the excitement of the milestone and her meticulous beauty rituals. Greeting her audience with warmth, she invited viewers to witness her final moments as a student. She playfully chronicled the chaotic morning, jokingly warning viewers not to judge her unpolished appearance. Distracted by a horror movie marathon, she admitted to missing several opportunities to record her preparations. Though a film held her attention, she eventually showcased her carefully styled hair for the ceremony. She promised her followers more updates as she headed toward her final beauty appointments that day. The pressure of the celebration left her feeling frantic as she rushed to finalize every detail. Despite the stress, she managed to perfect her look, highlighting her hair for the big event. She planned for a quick morning routine, ready to maintain her appearance even if time ran short. Logistical hurdles at the salon prevented her from filming every step of her transformation for the vlog. Between the physical strain and minor irritations, she remained focused on completing her aesthetic for graduation. Nadia eventually crossed the stage, celebrating the major accomplishment alongside her joyful classmates and peers. When asked about the experience, her reflections on becoming a graduate were poignantly surreal and bittersweet. She confessed that the transition felt unreal, as if another school year were just around the corner. Nadia was more than a student. She was a talented hair artist with a vibrant, sincere soul. At 19, she balanced a budding hairstyling business with her academic pursuit of a legal degree. Relatives cherish memories of her as a wise, optimistic woman who always saw the best in others. Driven by a desire to help others, she moved to Huntsville to study criminal justice. Her acceptance to Alabama A&M University marked the beginning of her new life in Huntsville. Amidst the novelty of college life, she encountered a man who would change her path forever. Ahmad Khalil Barney, a 20-year-old local, entered her life during those first few months. Their interaction began shortly after her move, though the relationship was remarkably brief and fleeting. Her parents estimated that the entire connection lasted no more than 8 weeks in total. Even in that short time, her father had already voiced serious concerns about the young man. He explicitly warned her to stay away from him. What was Barney's history before that March? Records show that the previous year, Barney faced felony charges for possessing stolen property. The stolen item in question was a 9mm Taurus handgun designed for easy concealment. At their meeting, Barney was already navigating a criminal case involving that stolen firearm. A magistrate had previously rejected his youthful offender status, and his bail mandated perfect conduct. This was the man her father warned against. 19-year-old Nadia was a first-year student. Assessing trust is a vital, dangerous lesson. She couldn't see Ahmad Barney's true face. On March 4th, 2026, she was at Candlewood. That Wednesday morning around 9 o'clock, neighbors heard 5 rapid reports. Soon, patrol units swarmed the Julia Street complex. Onlookers directed the responding officers toward the specific unit. Inside, they discovered Nadia Perkins. Despite urgent care, the teenager did not survive. Medical examiner Dr. Tyler Hill officially classified the death as a homicide. Within minutes, forensic teams and detectives established a perimeter around the apartments. Investigators interviewed everyone nearby who heard the fatal sequence of events. The evidence pointed toward a singular person of interest, Ahmed Khalil Barney. Authorities established the pair were together. They shared a volatile domestic history. Official reports suggest a verbal dispute turned lethal within the walls of that residence. Barney was named the suspect, but he had already vanished into the morning. Sergeant Chris Jackson detailed the investigation. A warrant was issued, and the manhunt began. A fatal discharge at a local complex yesterday has left the community shaken. New details emerge as the victim's identity is confirmed by the department. 19-year-old Montgomery native Nadia Perkins is remembered today by her peers. Alabama A&M University mourns a student whose loss resonates across the campus. A family member recalls a young woman with a luminous future. The freshman was a criminal justice major with aspirations for the law. School officials described her as a purposeful student who possessed great promise. Aunt Monica Ridgway provided family photographs to honor her niece's memory. The family feels blindsided, noting that her life was defined by clear ambition. Loved ones are turning to faith as they endure this sudden, violent tragedy. The inquiry remains active following the initial report of a ballistic incident. Police have withheld specific details regarding leads or potential arrests. The university is providing counseling services and plans a memorial for later this year. We will track this development and provide updates on our digital news app. Reporting live from Huntsville, I am Karina Shidoin. 48 hours later, police had a profile and warrant, yet Barney remained missing. Ahmad Khalil Barney is 26 feet tall and roughly 170 pounds. Last seen in dark clothing, he has a short afro. We have time for questions. Witnesses observed an individual being placed in restraints at the scene. Is there any information regarding that person's link to this specific crime? When tracking a dangerous suspect, we detain those with potential knowledge of his whereabouts. Such individuals are held strictly to facilitate the ongoing criminal investigation. Drones and canine units are being utilized. How will they assist the search? Multiple pilots and canine units are currently tracking the suspect on the ground. The U.S. Marshals and local deputies are now providing tactical assistance. Every agency is collaborating to isolate the search to a singular residential area. Given the terrain, our last visual of the suspect was near a wooded boundary. These drones are essential for spotting him within the dense outdoor cover. Rising temperatures began blinding the thermal sensors, making an aerial find nearly impossible. The hunt persisted despite technical hurdles, fueled by a directive to either capture him or prove he escaped. Detectives had already concluded the suspect was no longer at the initial apartment. He had vanished, and with the interstate nearby, every passing hour gave him a greater lead. Sergeant Chris Jackson stepped before the microphones with a grim update for the community. With an active murder warrant, the public was warned to view Barney as an armed and lethal predator. On Friday morning, every resident near Jordan and Shields Roads was told to remain on high alert. Authorities received a breakthrough when Barney was reportedly seen at a Chevron station on that same corner. Officers closed in fast, but Barney spotted the trap and bolted into the thicket behind the station. The local pursuit instantly transformed into a massive, multi-agency dragnet. A perimeter was established as canine units and overhead drones began a methodical sweep of the brush. A wave of officers saturated the suburbs, scouring backyards and tree lines for any sign of movement. 4 separate agencies joined forces, including the Huntsville Police and the Madison County Sheriff's Office. The elite investigators of the United States Marshals Fugitive Task Force also arrived on the scene. Sergeant Jackson emphasized that catching Barney on foot was their most critical priority. The federal marshals joined the grueling, hours-long search for that exact reason. The sweltering 85-degree heat that afternoon created an invisible wall for the surveillance teams. Drones used thermal imaging to detect body heat, but the ambient temperatures rendered the signals unreadable. Sergeant Jackson addressed these technological failures directly with the press. The aerial units were used to rule out empty sectors rather than pinpointing his exact hiding spot. As a precaution, several Madison County schools were locked down while the manhunt intensified. Nearby business owners received urgent calls and began taking their own security measures. Adrian Gilstrap, owner of a local grill, recalled the chilling shift in the neighborhood atmosphere. He was out back tending the smoker when the frantic phone calls started coming in. His priority shifted instantly to survival, warning everyone on his staff to stay sharp. They bolted the doors and watched the security feeds, treating the plaza like a fortress. In that small center, The business owners are like family, keeping a watchful eye on one another. By mid-afternoon, investigators realized that Barney had successfully slipped through the wooded perimeter. He resurfaced on Century Street, having traveled all the way to the opposite side of Huntsville. A single 911 tip from a vigilant citizen finally gave police the lead they needed. When asked how the suspect crossed the city, Sergeant Jackson provided a straightforward account of the events. Jackson confirmed that the lead funneled officers directly to the Huntsville Place student apartments. This time, the suspect found no room to run. Just after 2 o'clock on Friday, Ahmad Khalil Barney was arrested without incident and jailed. Offender in custody at 495 Street crackled the police radio. Unit Victor 1 requested 4 marked cars to secure the building immediately. That radio traffic marked the end of the line for a man accused of a senseless killing. The capture was the climax of an exhausting manhunt involving multiple law enforcement tiers. Officials confirmed the 20-year-old suspect was finally off the streets after his hours on the run. He is charged with the murder of 19-year-old Nadia Perkins, whose body was discovered Wednesday. The morning began with a desperate search near Jordan Road after reports placed him in the area. Yet the final act took place miles away, amidst the quiet corridors of a student housing complex. Reporter Valentina Chalala followed the trail of evidence that led investigators to their target. For much of that tense afternoon, the outcome remained uncertain. Officers had flooded the outskirts, haunted by the thought of a killer hiding in the shadows. K-9 units and surveillance drones saturated the grid, a desperate attempt to triangulate a shadow in the dense brush. Ahmad Barney had vanished from his last known coordinates, forcing a massive tactical containment across the entire search zone. Local Madison County classrooms went into lockdown as the hunt for the fugitive intensified just outside their campus walls. Sergeant Chris Jackson noted the sweltering Alabama heat effectively blinded their thermal optics, rendering the aerial search nearly impossible. Despite the environmental obstacles, the aerial technology remained a critical asset for the ground teams. Their primary utility lay in clearing empty sectors, allowing investigators to shrink the kill zone and focus their resources. Nearby, entrepreneur Adrienne Gilstrap watched the perimeter tighten, her staff locking down against an unseen threat lurking outside. She had been tending to the kitchen's rhythm when the quiet morning was suddenly shattered. While prepping brisket out back, the silence was broken by a flurry of urgent warnings regarding the unfolding crisis. The order was simple: seal the rear exits and monitor every soul entering through the lobby for safety. In this tight-knit plaza, surveillance feeds became shared eyes for a community, acting as one to protect their own. By late afternoon, the dragnet closed. Ahmad Khalil Barney was shackled for the cold-blooded slaying of Nadia Perkins. The violence erupted Wednesday at Candlewood. The victim's family had already sensed the lurking danger Barney posed to her. Correspondent Emily Mosner is tracking the fallout of this investigation from the precinct steps at the Huntsville Police Headquarters. She brings us the definitive timeline of how this high-profile suspect was finally cornered and brought into police custody. Authorities confirmed the grueling pursuit ended today with a high-stakes apprehension, following a relentless, day-long search for the fugitive. The discovery of Nadia's body on Wednesday set this grim machinery in motion, sparking a search for the killer. Barney was processed into the system at 1400 hours, officially ending his desperate flight from the reach of justice. Visuals from the scene show the aftermath of a crucial emergency call that cracked the case wide open today. For hours, the investigation centered on the intersection of Jordan and Shields Roads, where the suspect was last seen. Tactical teams combed the dense woods with tech and tooth, yet the suspect initially remained an elusive ghost. Jackson credited a seamless multi-agency coalition for the eventual breakthrough that led to the suspect being caught and detained. He also cited the public's vigilance as the final piece of the forensic puzzle that brought the search home. The loss of the 19-year-old university student resonates as a profound tragedy seeking a final and absolute legal resolution. With the suspect booked, the focus shifts to securing a conviction for a young life stolen much too soon. Consequently, detectives are now hand-delivering the evidentiary chain to the district attorney's office to ensure he answers for his crimes. While a prior connection is confirmed, the psychological trigger for the murder remains classified as the interrogation process continues. Barney faces a capital murder indictment as the investigation enters its next phase of preparation for the upcoming trial. Reporting from the heart of the investigation in Huntsville, I am Emily Mosner with the latest news updates. Jackson clarified that a secondary individual was briefly held before being cleared of any criminal involvement in the shooting. Records show Barney's charges include murder compounded by a domestic violence enhancement connected to the specific nature of the case. A judge decreed that the defendant would remain detained without any possibility of bail due to the violent charges. Prosecutors moved to invalidate his previous release regarding a separate stolen weapon offense dating back to February of last year. The condition of his freedom was absolute lawfulness, a mandate he shattered when he allegedly committed this latest violent act. A homicide charge represents the ultimate breach of judicial trust and a total violation of his previous bond conditions. Barney now sits in a cell, his only exit being the path to a courtroom as investigators finalize the case. His initial appearance before a judge is scheduled for March 24th to face the consequences of his alleged actions. The man accused of extinguishing Nadia Perkins' future will stay behind iron bars until his day in court arrives. Barney stands accused of the fatal shooting at the Candlewood complex exactly 1 week ago, ending a young life. His capture followed a relentless, multi-hour pursuit through the Alabama heat that eventually pushed the suspect into the light. Legal filings confirmed the total revocation of his liberty across all pending cases as he awaits his preliminary hearing. As the March hearing looms, Sergeant Jackson's team prepares for the long, arduous road to obtaining justice for Nadia. The chase is finished, yet in Montgomery, the cold silence of grief has only just begun for her family. Her parents are left to piece together the memory of the woman she was becoming before her life was taken. Barney's name surfaced as Monica Ridgeway addressed the press regarding the unfolding tragedy. The family relied on their spiritual convictions while navigating this sudden, devastating void. Rites were held in Montgomery. Friday morning visitation at 8:30 and Saturday's 11 o'clock funeral. In Huntsville, Alabama Agricultural and Mechanical University issued an official bulletin regarding the event. Mentors described the victim as a purposeful scholar who brought light to the campus. The institution provided grief counseling for the community struggling to process the news. A dedicated memorial was planned, reflecting a loss that resonated deeply within every dormitory. Witnesses near the apartment complex voiced the collective trauma felt by those living nearby. This investigation soon transcended local headlines, capturing the attention of the entire nation. Observers nationwide watched as this student of the law became its most tragic focus. She prepared to serve the justice system, yet now she relies on it for retribution. Ahmed Khalil Barney remains incarcerated at the Madison County Jail, held without any bail. While the legal gears turn, we remember a 19-year-old daughter of Montgomery. She was a creator who vlogged her journey and built a business styling hair. Her academic choice was a commitment to a career that offered real societal value. She was a newcomer, still sketching the outlines of her life's next ambitious chapter. A routine Tuesday night call about an exam remains the final testament to her character. Our hearts go out to the parents and peers mourning such a profound, senseless absence. No family should endure this. We hope the coming trial provides some measure of resolution. Rest well, Nadia. May this account encourage others to recognize the shadows before they fall. We will return with another chapter of Crime of Passion. Thank you for your attention. The tragedy of Nadia Perkins is more than a news headline. It is a haunting whisper to every heart chasing a dream. Nadia was 19 years of potential, a scholar of law, a creator of beauty, and a daughter of Montgomery, who moved to Huntsville to write her own future. Her story serves as a somber reminder that even the brightest lights can be extinguished by the shadows we choose to ignore. The most painful lesson here is the weight of intuition. Her father sensed the storm before it broke, issuing a warning born of love and instinct. Yet, in our youth, we often mistake volatility for passion and red flags for mere misunderstandings. We want to see the best in others, but sometimes that optimism blinds us to a predator's mask. To every young person carving out their path, your ambition is precious, but your safety is sacred. Listen to the voices of those who have spent a lifetime protecting you. Trust the quiet no that shivers in your gut. A relationship that costs you your peace, your freedom, or your future is a debt you can never afford to pay. Let Nadia's memory be the light that helps you recognize the shadows before they fall. Justice can punish a crime, but it cannot return a stolen tomorrow. Stay vigilant, stay safe, protect your light.